All right, Matthew 23. Today's devotional thought is called Humility Exalted. In Matthew 23, Jesus addressed the self-exaltation of the Pharisees and proclaimed the truth that would turn their value upside down. The Pharisees lived a life of self-righteousness. They exalted their own life because they believed they held the law the best. And Jesus confronts them by declaring that the Lord desires humility, not self-glory. So when we think about Matthew 23 today, how does humility look in our lives? You know, Jesus declared that true greatness is marked not by what we gain, but by servanthood. Now, servanthood means that the follower of Christ places the self in a posture of serving others and surrendering the self to the Lord. It's both those, submitting to the Lord and serving others. Our servant nature often should reflect or must reflect our commitment to God. It's because we are the servant and He is our master. Our submission to Him must be the totality of our lives, not just part of it. This declaration confronted the self-exaltation nature of the Pharisees as Jesus was calling them to such a life. And today, it must challenge us to strive to live as the servant of the Lord. You know, Jesus declared that those who sought to live in self-righteousness and self-exaltation would be humbled. And of course, He was talking about the day when the arrogance of the Pharisees would be cast down because they would face the judgment of that. And it would be their downfall. You see, the self-righteousness of the Pharisees could not meet the expectations of the Lord. But then He furthered the discussion by saying, and those who are humbled will be exalted. He reverses the narrative. Why does He do this? Well, those who lived in humility, He's saying, I'm going to rise up. Now, this did not mean that life would be an easy street for the follower of Christ. That's not at all what it means. But instead, it means that a life was lived with the hope and the certainty that comes in Christ. And so, what's a little bit of application to think about today? Well, I think this is it. I think the challenge for us today is to check our desire. What are we honoring? What are we praising? Is it the self or is it the Lord? Do we maintain a spirit of humility and service? Or do we seek the praise of others and the glory of the self? Do we seek to honor Jesus or do we seek to honor the prospect of receiving praise? And so I think today the challenge for us is to check our hearts. Are we truly seeking to live in humility? We'll see you from Matthew 24.